Welcome everybody to another episode of the Pierce Brothers. I'm Jake. Today we're going to be doing a video on the Ohio Ordinance BAR. I've owned actually 3 of these in the past, just one currently. They're really nice rifles. If you want a BAR, you're kind of one of the only people making one in the world actually right now. Of course, these are semi-automatic. They call it the 1918 A3. I'm not going to go too much into a history lesson here. There's of course plenty of books that you can go read if you want to learn every little detail about the BAR. This is actually a really good one, really good resource called Rock in a Hard Place. Yeah, it goes into everything you'd ever want to know about the BAR. This one here, I'm sorry, but this one's not really a current production gun. This one they made, this is actually a pretty early one, made with almost all original parts. This one's actually got a 1919 dated Marlin Rockwell barrel. Most of the other parts are original. This one, they made a fairly small run of these that were World War I styled guns. So they got of course, the checkered wood handguard, wood buttstock. They don't have the later update with the flapper on the back. They have the original peep sights. Do not have a carry handle. Flash hider. It does have a flash hider. This is the World War I style. I have that removed at the moment. These did not come with the bipod either. Those were all later editions. And that's what the current guns ship with. So this is their... But it's, I mean, virtually the same gun. They just, of course, have all the World War II updates in their current production guns. But I thought I'd do a review because I did own one of their current production guns. I also owned one of the Colts. They made a run for Colt back in, I think it was 2015. And again, they styled those after the World War I style guns like this. But I thought this one was cool because it's virtually all original parts. But the BAR, of course, was designed by John Browning. It's a 20-round 30-06. The BAR was adopted by the U.S. Army in 1917. And actually, they did some testing with one of the pre-production prototype guns. Actually had the early guns actually had the ejection from the top, solid receiver here, open top design. They took one of those and put 20,000 rounds through it in 4 hours and 15 minutes, and the gun survived. You know, that's pretty good indication of the BAR. It's just a solid, heavy-duty gun. So during World War II, I'm just going to kind of hit a few highlights here. It was kind of adopted in the A2 configuration. The original World War I guns were semi-auto or full auto, so select fire. World War II, they just had a fast and slow rate of fire, so full auto all the time. You could just switch them to fast or slow. So the Army and the Marines both used them as kind of like their squad automatic weapon. The Army's doctrine called for the BAR to support the riflemen. The Marines, on the other hand, their whole doctrine was based around the BAR, so the riflemen were there to support the BAR. And the Marines actually, by the end of the war, every 4th man in their squad would be armed with the BAR. They realized the value of automatic fire, and frankly, the U.S. didn't really have too many good full-caliber, fully automatic weapons in their arsenal. The BAR was one of the only... I mean, they had the Thompson, but again, that's a submachine gun. The BAR, of course, 30-06. So the BAR, of course, in the original configuration, weighed about 16 pounds. With all the A2 upgrades, or updates, I wouldn't really call them upgrades, they weighed close to 20 pounds, 19.5 or something. In this configuration, they're heavy, but you can easily shoot this from the shoulder, and we'll, of course, have some footage of that. They're very controllable. With the A2 upgrades, especially with the bipod on the end, they just get a little cumbersome, and it's hard to keep it on up at the shoulder for very long because all that extra weight on the muzzle. So the BAR does have a few weaknesses. One, if you're using it as a full automatic fire support weapon, it does not have a quick change barrel, so you can overheat the barrels pretty easy. throughout production. I believe in the Korean War they did upgrade this. The gas cylinder on these was never made out of stainless steel, and of course the ammunition through World War II and even into Korea, a lot of it was corrosive primed ammo, and if you didn't properly maintain the rifle, it would rust up pretty solid, even after just a few days, that corrosive ammo, especially in the Pacific where it's really humid. That humidity and all that corrosion would just get in the gas cylinder and rust them up pretty bad. Unlike the M1 Grand, of course, they had a stainless steel gas piston in there, so they would not rust. If you maintain the rifle, and I mean, they perform very well. Actually, in the Korean War, there was a guy, his name was Colonel David Haxworth. He called it the best weapon of the war, and in the Korean War, actually, the BAR kind of almost came into its own. During the Korean War, the communist forces used machine guns and mortars a lot to target, so they kind of make these probing attacks, trying to locate where the American or the UN forces had their machine guns and machine gun emplacements, and then they would target that with machine gun fire and mortars and try to knock them out, and then they'd come in with mass wave attacks, especially at night. The BAR had one big advantage over other guns like the 1919 Browning, which were, you know, heavier bipod mounted guns, in that these were a very mobile automatic weapon. So in those probing attacks, the guy could easily move, even while prone, move position to position and keep his position hidden. And of course, you had a fully automatic rifle that was very, very devastating. Okay, so enough about the history. How does the Ohio Ordinance gun compare? It's actually a pretty nice, I mean, extremely well-made gun. So the receiver, of course, is all machined steel. They did have to change the design to shoot from a closed bolt instead of an open bolt, like the originals would have. Semi-automatic only, again, for legality reasons. So, like I said, I've owned 3 of these. The first one I owned, I put 600 rounds through in a single day. I mean, these guns just generally run really well if you have good magazines. Ohio Ordnance mags generally work really good. They do have an adjustable gas cylinder up here, so you can adjust the gas from, you know, light to medium to high, so you can adjust the gas there, how much it receives. They generally do feed hollow points as well, or soft point ammo. That first one I had, I shot a lot of soft point ammo, and it fed all that fine. This one, I've mostly just put full metal jacket ammo through it, and again, haven't had any malfunctions. I had one magazine that wasn't working, wasn't feeding right, but other than that, it's been 100%. So, enough talking, let's get out and shoot it.
Quite a chunk of iron. Very comfortable to shoot. It's heavy and very controllable. It's quite a chunk of steel. Very unique sound as well. You can hear a BAR going off on a firing range distinctively from other guns. It's interesting. It's heavier than it looks.
It is. What do you think?
It barrel's getting warm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cheek weld is a little high. You kind of have to get your head down to get a good sight picture.
Yeah,
of course,
that's
if
true.
you flip it up and use the
ladder sight there might be a little different, but yeah, pretty neat. Definitely doesn't have much recoil. You know, all that weight makes it pretty smooth.
Yeah, it does.
Yep.
Okay guys, so I'm going to show you kind of a mag change with this. I've got a few rounds and 2 mags, and just kind of show you it's a little awkward by today's standards, but again, the rifle's over 100-year-old design. So, quite a bit of shooting in just a little bit of time. It's almost 100 rounds within like 5 minutes, you know, and it's getting pretty hot. But yeah, these Ohio Ordinance guns, guys, they run really well. I mean, they really do. Yeah, like it. I've got just like when I was doing that mag dump there, extremely controllable. They really are. You can see why they were well liked. Anyways, thanks for watching this episode of the Pierce Brothers. We'll talk to you guys next time.